have a microphone. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting on January 14, 2019. It's 6:17. Please join Council Member Stipp in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Almighty God, we give you thanks for bringing us to the start of another year. You have kept us in the days that have passed. We pray that you keep us in the days to come. Teach us to be faithful in all things, grateful for all your gifts, urgent in your work, and hopeful for the future of our city. Lord, we can easily get caught up in the things that don't really matter. We pray that you fill us with your love, speak your words of comfort to those that are hurting, and have hope to encourage us and demonstrate grace and joy that comes with knowing you. Gracious God, we claim nothing of our own, and all things come from you. Accept this prayer and the service of our lives for the betterment of this great city in this new year. Grant that we may use all things for your glory and the blessings and for the blessing of those in our care. Please be with the men and women serving our city, county, state, nation, no matter where they are. Keep watch over them as you keep watch over us. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that special prayer, Councilman Stipp. All right, we're going to go to the communication. This is always the wonderful, good feeling time. Then we can bring people up and talk about them and award them. So I'm going to do this, Council, just kind of brief you on this. I'm going to take one at a time. And then after the first one, we will go over here and a picture will be taken. Okay, so we'll do that. Then I'll introduce the next one. Okay? All right. So 4.1. I really have the pleasure to recognize Sally Kinko as Citizen of the Year and Mike Severino from the Cincinnati Reds as the Corporate Citizen of the Year. So I will start with Sally, but I just want to kind of give background because, you know, we're streaming tonight. We've grown up all of a sudden and so I want the public to know why we do this. It is a time we as a city council recognize a citizen and a corporate citizen in Goodyear for their engagement in our community. Each year we list the recommendations from our city council and we review this, and sometimes I have a difficult task of selecting the individual from this list and from the business list from our community, which has dedicated time, support, and represents the city of Goodyear in a positive manner. Today, I have selected a true historian of our community and an exceptional community partner to be recognized for their contribution. I would like Sally Kinko, longtime member of the Three Rivers Historical Society and co-author of the Arcadia book on Goodyear, to join me at the front to be recognized. Do this. Sorry, I'm a little slow at this. I want you to face your fans here. You have everybody from your community. Come on right over here so you can be seen.
I have a cheering section.
You do, and that's why you're so successful. All right, so Citizen of the Year, Ms. Sally Kinko. Whereas Sally Kinko has been a model citizen and dedicated volunteer for organizations in the city of Goodyear for several years. I've known her since I've been on the council, maybe before. Whereas Sally is considered a key historian for the city and the Southwest Valley region, and where she has been instrumental in archiving the information for future generations, including her own memories of moving to Goodyear by train with her family in 1945. Whereas Sally's selfishness dedicated over the year of her time to researching the content for the published archaic book on Goodyear, and your co-author, who we all met, was your friend, Dr. Denise Bass. Whereas her continued connections to fellow pioneers, not prisoners, pioneers. They could have been prisoners. We had jails back then. To fellow pioneers assured the book would be comprised of memories and photos to capture the charming essence of what was once the town of Goodyear to the present day. Sally has wholeheartedly committed her retired years to the Three Rivers Historical Society, whereas she was once the president, the secretary, and I remember all those hours that you worked. For many, many years, Sally continues to remain devoted advocate for the society. And Sally graciously volunteers her spare time locally and often serves as a docent to the Goodyear Arts and Culture Commission's Mobile Museum, where she candidly speaks to the photos shared at the various events. Sally, you have given years of her life in service to this city and has proven herself to be an invaluable asset to our community. And Sally is a proud advocate for our fine city. From the mayor, thank you. It doesn't say that in here, but I want to tell you that. Sharing the history and the love of Goodyear throughout the valley. And now I can proudly say, now therefore it be resolved that I, Georgia Lohr, Mayor of the City of Goodyear, Arizona, do hereby proclaim Sally Kiko as the 2018 Citizen of the Year for her leadership, her volunteerism, and dedication to the Goodyear community. In witness whereof I have set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Goodyear, Arizona to be affixed to this 14th day of January 2000. Congratulations. Let's give a round of applause. Now, this is the moment that I'm going to give her the microphone. She might have a few words for us. Sally?
Thank you. I am both honored and humbled because I know there are a lot of volunteers that work hard for the city of Goodyear as well. But I was blessed to grow up in Goodyear when the population was about 1,000. And I am particularly happy to see it grow to a population of 84,000, both beautifully and gracefully. It's grown well. Thank you.
Come on over here.
Yes.
We're going to take a picture.
Yes, we do. We will.
Well, it's the only one you can stand by.
Oh my gosh, that's true. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Now I'd like to bring Mike Severino, Director of Arizona's Operations, to the podium. Now he's here on behalf of the Cincinnati Reds to recognize as the 2018 Corporate Citizen of the Year. Before I start this, you were everywhere. When you came, every event we went, you were somewhere. If it was in the corner or in the center, I mean, I kept saying, who is this person? And I got to know you very quickly, very capable and a great representative. So I'm pleased to be able to read this to you and to present this to you. Just one moment. I can't hold all this stuff. All right. Corporate Citizen of the Year 2018, Cincinnati Reds, Goodyear, Arizona. Whereas the Cincinnati Reds have been exceptional community partners since the arrival in Goodyear in 2009. That was a big deal back then. It was. It still is. And the Cincinnati Reds have made significant investments in the progress and development of the city of Goodyear and broader Southwest Valley. Whereas the city of Goodyear has enjoyed an outstanding relationship with the Castellini family, team management, and other staff in our shared effort to ensure that Goodyear is the premier destination for spring training fans in Arizona. Whereas the consistent generosity of the Cincinnati Reds with the city and the Southwest Valley Chamber of Commerce and the many deserving causes throughout the West Valley have inspired a meaningful change within our community. Whereas the contributions of the Cincinnati Reds throughout the community, especially the youth and the family initiatives, since their arrival in this region, you have inspired a new generation of loyal baseball fans who will have been forever touched by the team's generosity. The Cincinnati Reds will be celebrating, get this, 150th year anniversary of baseball's first professional team in 2019. The city of Goodyear looks forward to our continued relationship with the Cincinnati Reds and thanks the team for their stewardship, their commitment in our community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Georgia Lohr, Mayor of the City of Goodyear, do hereby proclaim Cincinnati Reds as the 2018 Corporate Citizen of the Year for their leadership, service, and dedication to the community. In witness thereof, I've set my hand and caused the seal to Goodyear, Arizona, to be affixed on the 14th day of January 2019. And you are a great part of this. I want you to know this. So congratulations.
Moment here. Not quite as able as Sally with the speech, so I have a few prepared comments. Mayor Lord, Vice Mayor Campbell, and esteemed council members, thank you for this evening, a chance to opportunity to present here. On behalf of the Robert Castellini family and the entire Cincinnati Reds organization, thank you for this prestigious award. We really appreciate it. It seems like yesterday that we arrived in Goodyear to the warmest of welcomes. Now, with 9 spring training seasons under our belt, we prepare for season number 10 at beautiful Goodyear Ballpark, and the journey has only grown sweeter along the way. As an organization, we have been fortunate to work with such a tremendous partner as the City of Goodyear, as well as the local businesses and charities, civic and community groups, and of course the best baseball fans in the Valley. So it is with great pride and humility that the Reds organization accepts this award and looks forward to continuing to serve the Goodyear community for many more years to come. Thank you. Thank you.
Good job. Now we're going to take the picture. Okay, we'll walk up here. All right, Council, we're coming.
Same positions as. Oh my gosh.
Shift about 5 feet this way. I think it might be more centered if it was right here.
Because we're getting our seal in.
Yeah, we're getting the seal in. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Just a minute, guys.
Okay. Bruce in the ballpark.
Yes. All right, we're on number 5 is the time for citizens who would like to address the city council on any non-agenda item. Are there any speaker cards?
Actually, Mayor, we have Mr. Kessman from the ballpark to do a presentation under communications.
Okay. I'm sorry, was this on the schedule? Did I miss this sheet?
Right here. Right
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, it wouldn't be me if I didn't make a mistake, right?
It's okay.
Yeah, here we go. No, it's fine. So that's the presentation that I didn't finish. So we're on 4.2. Ballpark staff will present an overview of the Arizona Classic, which will be held at the Goodyear Ballpark from January 25th through January 27th. Ballpark General Manager Bruce Kessman and guest.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. We're just under 2 weeks away from another exciting event taking place at the Goodyear Ballpark. We have the Arizona Balloon Classic beginning Friday evening from 4 to 8 p.m. on January 25th. The event will continue on Saturday. It's an all-day Saturday event starting at 7 a.m. and it will conclude at 8 p.m. And then the entire event will conclude on Sunday morning between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. And I have the event organizer, Tim Matakavich, with the Arizona Balloon Classic, who's going to tell us about all the exciting things that will be taking place over those 3 days.
Good, thanks.
Thank you, Bruce, Mayor, Council. We are honored again to be able to produce the 8th annual Arizona Balloon Classic in the city of Goodyear. Thank you very much for inviting us back. We have some exciting updates. We have over 37 hot air balloon teams coming from all over the country. Most of them are from out of state, and I think they're just interested in buying a second home. So maybe it's going to be here in Goodyear.
Good.
We have stages now. We have a few stages that'll have entertainment on both stages, the main stage and our Food Fest stage. We're expanding our Food Fest, which is a culinary experience that we've turned into an exhibition, so to speak, where we'll have demonstrations and we'll have another stage. And of course, you'll be able to sample food from 22 of the best food vendors that we can provide. We're extremely excited about that. We have over 160 volunteers. We're still looking for some more volunteers. We need almost 225 volunteers to make sure that this is a successful event. We've calculated over 300,000 square feet of hot air balloons, so you don't want to miss it. Of course, we're bringing the fireworks back on Saturday evening. So we'll have balloons, we'll have music, we'll have food. We're excited about some of our special sponsors like QT and some of those Goodyear-based companies that will come and support this event. Mayor, Council, thank you very much for allowing us to come back. And as I mentioned earlier, we just want to make sure we don't want to screw this up. But you can get information at abcfest.com. That's where you can get all your information, abcfest.com. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Bruce, for allowing us to come back.
Well, thank you. Just wait, because council may have something to say. Council, yes. See, Councilman Hampton.
Yeah, this is a great event. I know my kids and I both really loved this event. It was fun. I mean, there was a lot of good things going on. They liked you had the stage with the bike riders out there last year too. That was really fun. And yeah, a lot of good memories and just another good thing for people to experience in Goodyear that we can offer them for entertainment and things to do in the city. I know we got a lot of heads turning also when they all start lit up, at least along Estrella, all the people that were coming and going. So definitely a lot of attention, and it's, yeah, I'm glad you guys are back, and I want to continue it. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilmember Loretano?
I want to echo that, and it's a great event, and I hope everyone comes out. I do have a question. How much has it grown in since last year?
I'm sorry, the question?
Has it grown since last year, more balloons since?
Yes, ma'am. That's a great question. So I've been keeping Bruce and the staff up to date. So we're double the amount of hot air balloons. So We had 18 active balloon teams last year. We have 37 this year. So we're going to be going into what we refer to as a wave. So in the morning, you'll have one balloon leave, and then 12 balloons leave, and then the next wave will be another 12 balloons. So this will actually be a pretty incredible sight in the sky above Goodyear.
Wow. Well, I'm excited, and hopefully we'll double again next year.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming back, wanting to come back to Goodyear. We love having you, and we look forward to the exciting 3 days. This is a wonderful family-friendly event, and we encourage all of our Goodyear residents to come and take part of it. Thank you.
Councilmember Stipp?
I'm very appreciative that you're back. I have to have a conversation with the Army about how they schedule me. I will be gone again, which is very disappointing for me because I love these kinds of events. But just thank you so much for being here, and despite my absence, I'm really excited about you being here and appreciate everything that we can do for you.
Yes, and thank you so much, and I apologize for my error there, but it brought attention to you, so that will help. Anyway, we really appreciate what you do. It is so exciting to look in the sky and see all those, and I never thought that our city of Goodyear would have it. We've gone and traveled on the other side, and they've had it, and so we feel very important, and I think the citizens really love this event. So thank you very much.
Mayor, thank you.
And Bruce, thank you. All right, now I'm back on track. Here we go. Now is the time for citizens who would like to address the city council on any non-agenda item. Are there speaker cards?
Yes, Mayor.
All right, would you
Clark.
like to announce?
Clark Landrum.
All right. So I have to talk about this before you start speaking. The council will listen to comments and may take any one of the following: respond to criticism, request the staff investigation and report on the matter, request that the matter be scheduled in the near future. You have 3 minutes. The yellow light and buzzer will let you know you have 30 seconds left to speak. And before you speak, please identify yourself, clearly stating for record your name and address.
My name is Clark Landrum, 18605 West McDowell Road here in Goodyear. Thanks, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council for having me up here. The reason for my, can you get that up there or not? Let's see.
Oh,
There we go. All right. So the reason for coming up front here is to welcome and the public and council to the grand opening of our CNG fueling station, which will be February 20th, and that it will be out in Goodyear here. So it is a $9 million investment that we've made to help support, the city of Goodyear and the West Valley in regards to compressed natural gas. You may have seen our new trucks. We have 16 new CNG trucks running through the Southwest Valley at this time. Those trucks save diesel, gas emissions, and they run significantly quieter as well. So, point being, once again, to support and welcome anyone who wants to come out to the grand opening celebration on February 20th.
Thank you very much for the presentation.
what's the time, sir?
The time is 10:30 a.m.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any other cards?
No, Mayor.
All right, well, let's get on with the consent agenda. The next items on consent agenda is to approval of the consent agenda. Will city clerk please read consent agendas items 6.1 through 6.5 by title only, please?
6.1, approval of minutes. 6.2, accept the 2018 Homeland Security Grant Program Award to the Goodyear Fire Department. 6.3, 1, adopt ordinance number 2019-1420, approving the transfer from Maricopa County to the City of Goodyear right-of-way generally located within the Broadway Road alignment between South Bullard Avenue and South Litchfield Road, approving the annexation of such right-of-way and extending and increasing the corporate limits of the City of Goodyear, Maricopa County, State of Arizona, upon the approval of the transfer by the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors in compliance with the requirements of ARS Section 9-471N, providing authority and direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. 6.32, authorize the city engineer to move forward with improvements that may be initiated prior to completion of the annexation. 6.4, number 1, adopt ordinance number 2019-1421, approving the transfer from Maricopa County to the City of Goodyear right-of-way generally located within the Thomas Road alignment between North Citrus Road and North Cotton Lane, approving the annexation of such right-of-way and extending and increasing the corporate limits of the City of Goodyear, Maricopa County, State of Arizona upon the approval of the transfer by the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors in compliance with the requirements of ARS Section 9-471N, providing authority and direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. 6.42, authorize the city engineer to move forward with improvements that may be initiated prior to completion of the annexation. 6.5, approve the replat of Province at Estrella Mountain Ranch, Parcel 2, Cantamia.
Thank you very much. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
All right. Does anybody on the council wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Then may I please have a motion and a second to approve items 6.1 through 6.5 on the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion by Councilman Hampton and a second by Vice Mayor Campbell. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Hampton?
Aye.
Councilmember Kano?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, we're moving to business. And the first one on the agenda is I would like council, first of all, council, 7.4, I'd like council, remind council to wait until there's a motion on the table for any questions or discussions. So the proposal on 7.4 is to abandon the portions of street and public utility easements in the select subdivision. Real estate coordinator Linda Beals will be presented.
Looks like Sarah.
So it doesn't look like Linda Beals. So Sarah, you have the floor.
Mayor, council members, I was here for another matter, so I told Linda I would cover for her today.
Can you move that microphone a little closer? Thank you.
I still haven't gotten any taller since last time I was here. So I'm presenting for Linda the conditional abandonment of portions of the streets and public utility easements within Airport Subdivisions number 2 and Airport Subdivision number 4. This is in connection with a redevelopment of a parcel of 2 parcels of land that were platted in the early 80s and never developed. The current owner of the property would like to consolidate the lots into well, the lower half of the property will be one huge lot, and then up along MC 85, the existing lots will remain as they are. In order to do the consolidation, they need to remove and have the city vacate and abandon certain existing right-of-way that was dedicated, and as well as the PUEs. The property was not developed, so the roads that are being abandoned do not exist at this point. We have received all utility clearances. The only catch in this particular abandonment is that council has to make a finding that the roads are no longer necessary. What drives the roads from being no longer necessary in this case is the final plat. But because we're working through infrastructure issues, the final plat's not ready to be presented to council for approval. So we have a conditional abandonment, and upon the satisfaction of the condition, which is the approval of a plat, and it was included as an exhibit. So on the approval of a plat substantially in conformance with the exhibit that was presented in your materials, then, and with direction to record it, we would record the abandonment resolution, and then we would record the plat. All the materials are presented. I'm happy to answer any questions, or if you'd like to see any of the visuals or share any of the visuals, but it's all in the packet.
All right, very good. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak? All right, will the city clerk please do Resolution 2019-1931 by title only?
Adopt resolution number 2019-1931, conditionally vacating, abandoning certain streets and relinquishing all interest in certain public utility easements previously dedicated to the city in the plat for Airport Commerce Center Subdivision 4 and in Airport Commerce Center Subdivision 2, providing for an effective date of the abandonment and imposing requirements and conditions for the abandonment to become effective, and imposing a deadline for completion of the abandonment.
Thank you. Can I have a motion second to adopt Resolution 2019-1931? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
I heard a motion by Councilmember Stiff and a second by Vice Mayor Campbell. Open for council discussion. No council discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Campbell.
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano.
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp.
Aye.
Councilmember Hampton.
Aye.
Councilmember Kano.
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo.
Aye.
Mayor Lord.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Great. Thank you, Sarah, for subbing. All right, so we'll go to 7.1. Proposal to update the designated truck routes within the city of Goodyear. City Traffic Engineer Luke Albert presenting. Welcome, Luke.
Good evening, good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight I am presenting an ordinance to upgrade the truck route section of the city code. Shown this slide is an agenda for tonight's presentation. First, I'll discuss truck route definitions and then the existing city code that was established in 2002. And then I'll discuss the proposed truck routes as well as recommendations. The trucks regulated by this ordinance update are semi-trailers, box and platform trucks, hazardous material trucks, and other trucks greater than the 18,000-pound weight rating. It's important to note that emergency vehicles, garbage trucks, school buses, transit buses, and recreational vehicles are excluded. A truck route is a street upon which regional truck traffic is directed for through travel or local travel. For example, a truck traveling along MC85 or I-10 through Goodyear from Buckeye to Phoenix would be considered a regional truck on a truck route. And local pickup and deliveries must travel from the shortest route from the truck route to the point of delivery or pickup. So a truck that's making a delivery in the PV 303 area, for example, must travel along 303 directly to the point of delivery on Indian School Road or Camelback Road. They would not be allowed to travel along Indian School Road through Goodyear to the destination or along Pebble Creek Parkway to that area either. Shown on this slide are the truck routes that are currently identified in the existing city code. The roads shown on this slide are currently identified as local truck traffic only in the existing city code, but upon the update of the city code with this ordinance, all roads not identified as truck routes will be restricted to local truck traffic only. This map identifies the proposed truck routes within the city. And as mentioned previously, any road not identified on this slide would be restricted to local truck traffic only. And city staff has identified 3 streets to post as local truck traffic only upon adoption of this ordinance due to the greatest potential for violations. And those roads are Cerebral Avenue south of I-10, Pebble Creek Parkway north of I-10, Bullard Avenue north of I-10. But other roads will be posted as needed to help with enforcement if issues arise. City staff recommends adopting ordinance 2018-1412 to amend City Code Section 13-2-13 to update designated truck routes in Goodyear. And adoption of this ordinance will allow enforcement to occur for instances where truck route requirements are not followed. I'd like to thank Sarah Chilton for all of her effort and assistance in putting this ordinance together. And then, I'm not sure. With that, I'd like to open up for any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak? Will the city clerk please read ordinance 2019-1412 by title only?
Adopt ordinance number 2019-1412, amending the Goodyear City Code by amending section 13-2-13 truck routes to update the designated truck routes within the city of Goodyear, providing for corrections, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you. Can I have a motion second to adopt ordinance 2019-1412? Do I hear that motion?
Second.
I heard a motion from Councilman Loretano. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the second from Councilman Kano. Open for council discussion. Councilman Hampton?
Did you say that the routes are going to be posted with a sign? Or are they just going to be, how would people know? I guess they're supposed to go that route.
We will, we'll post signage on the truck routes. In addition, we will also notify the businesses. We have a list of businesses through economic development that obviously are very familiar with trucking patterns. That's going to be the best way for us to make sure we get the word out, is to directly contact those businesses.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Councilman Loretano?
Obviously, as we switch over, it's going to take time for people to realize that, but once it's switched over, is there a part of the ordinance, I might have missed it, what the fine is or how for enforcement?
Mayor Lord, Councilmember Loretano, I'm going to see if Sarah can help me out with I believe it's I believe there's like a 30-day period before the ordinance is in effect.
Kicks in.
Can someone in staff come forth?
And how much is the fine?
So the ordinance would take effect in 30 days from its adoption, but I would assume that law enforcement will probably be handing out warnings. The other issue I'd like to point out is under state law, we cannot cite anyone for violating or driving on a restricted route unless it's posted. So it will take some time for us to get the signage up. So there should be a good long lead-on time before anybody actually gets cited. If there are violations in the future, it would be treated as a Class 1 misdemeanor.
Okay. So we'll have an education period first to get everyone up.
Yes, and there'll be plenty of time because of the need to post signage as to where truck routes are limited to local traffic only.
Did you have a question, Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor?
I have a question, Luke, regarding Bullard. We are now saying from Bullard south of I-10 to Estrella Parkway, that will be the truck route. It's already designated the north part from Indian School to, I guess McDowell or even further, that is local traffic only. Will that remain the same?
Yeah. Mayor Lord, Vice Mayor Campbell, that's correct. That'll be local truck traffic only. We'll certainly keep the existing signs in place and supplement with the additional signs as needed.
Okay, and then I did notice you said that you're only going to request 20 signs, and you're going to, do the signs have to be made, and do we have to order them? And
we will, Mayor Lord, Vice Mayor Campbell, we will order signs with the adoption of this ordinance.
okay, so do you think we might have this in place in 6 months?
We'll certainly have the signage posted much sooner than that, within a month or two.
Okay, thank you very much.
Councilman Pizzillo?
Is there any specific area within the city, as you were putting this together, that we're having issues with?
Mayor Lord, Councilmember Pizzillo, certainly Cereval Avenue has been an issue for many years. That's been the most common issue we've had from trucks coming from the general area of that Commerce Center down there off of Commerce Drive coming up Cereval.
And this will help remedy that issue?
Correct. This will certainly help with that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Stiff?
All right, I told staff earlier, for the first time in my life, drank smart water on Saturday, and I don't think it had helped at all. So if you can, basically what you're saying is a truck that originates in Goodyear has to follow this truck route. Is that,
Correct. That's correct. They must take the shortest route from their point of delivery or pickup to the truck route.
Okay, so McLean on McDowell, they will exit there's no penalty for them driving on McDowell to Litchfield, Litchfield down to I-10, and then going from there.
Correct.
However, if they need to go north, you're saying they're going to have to take I-10 west to 303 to go north?
They take this short, like the most practical route, to the shortest or most practical routes. So in that case, I would say they'd either take McDowell to Litchfield to 303, or McDowell to Litchfield I-10 to 303, or McDowell to Bullard to I-10 to 303. Either one of those would be practical routes to take.
But essentially, the only way for anything leaving McLean's going northbound is to get to the 303 to go up.
To get to I-10 to 303 to go up.
Correct. Yeah, okay. So I guess, have we communicated with McLean's about the proposed truck routes? Because they're a big distributor that is north of, they don't meet any of these criteria, and they've been in this community a very long time.
Mayor Lord, Councilmember Staples, we have not communicated with them directly about this, but we certainly will and work with them to make sure that they're accommodated after this is adopted.
So, all right, maybe the smart water worked. My concern is all of the truck routes, appropriately so, are centered around some of the distribution centers and some of the activity that we already have. There is nothing north of I-10, with the exception of the 303, which is pretty far west if you're a Litchfield or McDowell Road customer. We didn't use Litchfield Road. We didn't identify Dysart. I mean, those are main roads that are designed to, there's 6 lanes.
So Dysart is an Avondale Road.
That'd be a great place to send them.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe the smart water didn't work.
And we have identified Camelback Road in our transportation master plan as a future truck route. It's just not built out to a standard to have as a truck route now. So that would be your other east-west.
I'm more worried about north-south, and I think, and I realize, and the only reason that I'm hung up on this right now is this is an ordinance. So we're making this change, and if we talk to McLean's and they say, holy smokes, you're really putting us in a very bad way, we're gonna have to come back and do this all over again. So, but I see Sarah probably has an opinion on that.
Sarah?
Mayor, Councilmember Stipp, I always have an opinion. I'd just like to clarify one point. When Luke is talking about in terms of reasonable access, he's talking about terms of what are statutory requirements, and they are based on federal constitution, interstate commerce requirements. So if, for instance, to get to the 303, the more reasonable point of access would be to go, I guess, up McDowell just straight to the 303. That, unless there was a safety concern about that, they would be able to do that under state law. So, if McLean's would find problematic because it's no longer reasonable, then we would have to look at that, and that would be considered local traffic.
So the fantasy example that I have in my head is if McLean's were to be delivering to Luke at the PX there, the most direct route is from their facility right up Litchfield Road, right to the base.
No, they couldn't do that.
That's what I'm saying. This ordinance prohibits them from doing that.
If we have posted Litchfield as a truck route, it's their access and the limitations on the city's ability to regulate are only limited on access to federal highways, interstate highways.
So the trucks so part 2 of that is I am a truck driver delivering to Luke. I get off at the I-10 at Litchfield. I am prohibited from taking Litchfield Road north to go to Luke, am I not?
Yes.
I think for me, this is a problem because we are killing commercial traffic to Luke Air Force Base because Litchfield Road, I think, is the way to get there. People aren't coming across the 101 from Glendale. They're taking Litchfield. It's the most direct route. Same thing to the Wigwam. I mean, we've got partners in this that we haven't thought all the way through this, and I'm concerned about that. I don't care what road it is, but I don't think 303 is the only north-south road that we should be pushing traffic to. I'm done.
Yeah, just ask the question to you. So you think it's okay for them to go through Litchfield Park? Litchfield
Road?
Litchfield Road.
Yeah, I think Litchfield Road, especially, our component of it, it's 6 lanes. We designed it to move traffic. I think that
I'm just talking about going to another municipality.
Well,
I mean,
but
forget Goodyear, the next neighboring city.
They're doing that today. And if Litchfield Park says, hey, we're going to kill truck traffic on Litchfield Road through our city, then they've taken the action. But we have no north-south truck route north of I-10 but the 303, and that's my concern. is it's a long distance between Dysart and the 303 to have no north-south traffic for this important piece of commerce.
I can see where you're coming from, but I just wonder, for safety's sake, for citizens, communities, and accidents,
I would look
road
to
like I-10 to 303 it's pretty smooth. If you come out of the city hall, and gone to make a left on in Litchfield, when a truck's coming from Litchfield, it makes a left to go down. It's scary. When I've done it a couple times, I have to back up my car for them to get around. And they're just so sweet. They blow kisses at me and wave at me. They just love the way I do it, but I don't do it for them. I do it because I think the truck's going to hit me, and it is going to hit me. So I think there's some other things we have to start considering here, and I think we are giving them two great highways. We put a lot of money in those highways. They can go faster, and they can drive easier because of the road. So I don't see that.
Mayor, if they're delivering to Luke, they can't get there from there. The 303, the only access to Luke is Camelback.
It goes to Northern.
Or all the way up to Northern to come all the way back. As a truck driver, that is valuable time and mileage. And if it's an independent, it's coming out of their pocket. I think we are putting a regulation in place when we already have an existing pathway to go north and south, in my opinion only.
I can respect that opinion, but I think
Mayor, Lord, Councilmember Stiff, I think we may. I think we may have.
Can you speak up close in that, please?
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. We're going to get you a stool.
I think I may have misled you a little. So you're saying they're coming from McLean's. They're coming from McLean's warehouse down on McDowell?
Either McLean's warehouse on McDowell, or they're making a delivery
It's
to
almost
Luke.
McDowell and Litchfield Road.
Okay.
Almost.
So it would arguably be considered, it would be considered a local delivery because there's no truck route. They're coming from a non-truck route. And that would, if that was the nearest point of delivery, and there was no other truck route that close, I would think that we could, there'd be a case that it was a local delivery.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest public perception issue we're going to have with this is very similar to, we made the grand announcement that all of our lights were synchronized, and then everyone expected them to be, and none of them were. So now that we say we've got truck routes, and people are going to be calling and saying, there's a truck on this street that shouldn't be there, we're going to have this over and over again. So I think with this comes either some sort of a public ed campaign or something. Otherwise, this is going to turn into a nightmare.
Mayor.
Vice Mayor?
Okay, so I travel Bullard all the time because we live off of Bullard. That's how I enter where I live for the last 19 years. The McLean trucks get off at I-10 at Bullard, and they hang a right with me, and they go up to McDowell, and they hang another right, and then they go into the McLean where there's a light to get in and out of their facility. If they're coming out, they either come out to the right, hit Litchfield, take another right, go hit 10, or take a left, come to Bullard, and get on I-10. And then they can get to the 303. I've seen trucks going down Litchfield Road to deliver at Fry's at Camelback, 18-wheelers, many of them, coming right down Litchfield Road and turning into Fry's to make a big delivery. And I've seen them go to the base because they have to enter only at one certain gate of the base, which is on Litchfield. And it is accessible, that area is accessible off of Northern and off of Glendale and off of Litchfield. So I honestly do not think we're hampering them because I do agree with you, it's a local delivery. If they're going from McLean and they're delivering locally to Luke, that's a local delivery right up that road. We're not doing anything any different, but it would be nice to tell them what we're going to do. Thanks, Rebecca.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to start a little bit from the very beginning. This is an ordinance that is beneficial to the city of Goodyear. This is an ordinance that is beneficial for our residents. We have a number of complaints that come to us specifically for Saraville, but I can see them coming to us from other areas as we increase our industrial and manufacturing and we have truck deliveries. And thank you, Vice Mayor. That was a perfect example of where trucks should go. In addition, we were talking earlier about them potentially going down McDowell. We would then be having complaints from those homes that are against McDowell about the truck traffic. The goal of this is to ensure that trucks take the most direct route to a truck route and don't circuitously drive through the city of Goodyear. If they're coming to the city of Goodyear to make a delivery or have a pickup, we're absolutely open to that. We're open for business, as we always say. But this is to help them understand the roads where we want the truck traffic, because it's not going to negatively impact our residents. This is something that we in engineering deal with all the time. And so in all honesty, this is an excellent update to our ordinance. The last time we did this was in 2002. This is a long time in coming, and this is something that we should move forward with, and that's why we recommend it. Thank you.
I just have one ask here, is that we use social media. We use the West Valley View and the Arizona Republic, and whenever it's time to advertise that we should really push that out to the media and tell people. But I agree with you about the safety of it. We used to get a lot of reports on Bullard and on Indian School too.
And now
And,
it says
and as
local
I've told the
traffic.
chief, I knew they weren't supposed to be there, and I followed the trucks trying to get the names off the truck, so I was going to run back to call, but he's discouraging me from doing that, so I've been very good about not doing it. But it still goes on.
Yeah.
And so, and I know the company that you're talking about,
They're wonderful.
they've had talks with us since I've been on this council in 2005
They're wonderful.
about better roads for them. And they requested a new road being made, and we couldn't do it. You know, it wasn't possible. So they have been under discussion for a long, long time. So unless they've made a recent complaint, most of the time they go that way, and because that's what was told to them a long time ago, to go to Bullard and get out on I-10. And the thing of it is, you can go north or south, so it's east or west, so.
My concern is the only north-south, north of I-10 is the 303. That's it.
Okay.
If you look south, look on that map south of I-10, there's like 3 or 4 options. That's my only point, is
Well,
we don't give anyone any option but the 303.
And it is difficult because it's wherever you locate your business, and they were located very early on in Goodyear before we even, you know, have made this kind of progress. So, Sherry? I'm sorry, Councilman Loretano.
I kind of read it as local traffic when I read it. That's why I didn't have a problem, because I see that as local traffic. You're making a delivery from McLean, just like there's no truck routes up to Estrella. But if you need to make a delivery, even if it's a semi, it's going to go up that road, it's going to come down. The fact that Councilmember Stipp may read it a little bit different does show we really do need to work on the education. I don't think it's going to be a problem because you're not going to have a lot of trucks. I think my understanding from the truck route is the idea is the truck route is supposed to be for basically commerce. So you're doing the truck route like on the freeway, you are going to California, you are going to Tucson. We're not having you skirt around the city. If you're making a delivery, your stopping point, you have to get there through our city. I don't think we're going to be citing anybody. So if we could just make sure that people understand what local traffic is. Just the fact there was some confusion, I think we need to be really clear with that, because I do support it. And like I said, I think the Estrella example gives you another example. There's nothing south, and there's not going to be, but we are going to have trucks up there. So,
Councilmember Hampton?
I'm sorry, I'm kind of off this subject a little bit, but I was reading I didn't see, is there an increase in maintenance to those roads that we're going to be making truck routes? Like a higher frequency in maintenance, or more money in the budget to make sure the asphalt is higher? Or I assume they're going to get more wear and tear with that large amount of trucks on it.
All of our roadways are already, the collectors, arterials, they're designed to handle truck traffic.
Okay, yeah, I'm just curious if we're going to go only to that, if there would need to be anything in there to be more maintenance potentially, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kano?
I live near McLean, and so I coexist with their trucks. And so I've, learned that that's a part of our driving. One of my concerns is how are you possibly going to differentiate between local truck drivers and those who are potentially violating the truck routes? I would think that enforcement is a huge challenge with all the matters facing our police. This is probably not the highest level one, so certainly identifying repeat offenders and education is going to be a huge, huge thing. And I think with the growth in our city and all of the advanced industry coming in things, certainly more frequent evaluation of the truck route is going to be a great idea. It's been a long time since we've looked at it, so.
Yes, and thank you for your comments. We will be working with the police department and then certainly with communications as well as economic development. We have a good relationship with them, and we'll be reaching out to some of our trucking companies to have those conversations, as we have done in the past with Amazon and Macy's, and so we'll certainly do that.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion? All right, we're going to vote. Thank you very much. We're going to vote on this. So could I have a roll call vote, please?
Vice Mayor Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Nay.
Councilmember Hampton?
Aye.
Councilmember Kano?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano? Aye. Mayor Lord?
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you very much. All right, go to 7.2, proposal to adopt the development impact fee study and development fees. Finance Manager and Budget Research, Laura Wiggin-Roth will be presenting. Laura?
Thank you. And we are finally here with the last action you need to take with regard to the impact fees. I would like to say that this has been about a 2-year process for those of us who were at the very beginning to procure the consultant through tonight. And I did want to recognize Tammy Blenar from my team, who's in the audience, who has been keeping us on task and moving forward throughout the whole project. And Sarah's been up here a lot, and she has also been instrumental, and especially in the piece we're presenting today, which is the ordinance changes as well as implementing the fee. So thank everybody who's been involved, including the departments and the stakeholders as well. And as you recall, we did have an extensive stakeholder process through this particular activity. And we're at the point in the process where we've held all the required steps to adopt the plan and then to do the public hearing on these fees. Today, we're asking that you adopt the fees. There will then be a 75-day waiting period according to the statute, with the fees becoming effective on April 1st. And then in addition, the statute has some exemptions where some particular developments would not be subject to the fee increases for another up to 24 months. Just as a reminder, these are the same fees you've been seeing for a couple of sessions now. I'll note that we did make there was a change made in the ordinance to clarify the wording so it would be clear to everybody that that particular wastewater fee there that is being reduced, even if you fall under that up to 24 months of exemption from the fee increases, that fee decrease will go into effect immediately for those entities. And then these are the south fees that we've also seen, and the impacts relative to the group of retail, office, and industrial. And again, these are the same items we've been seeing before. In addition to actually asking you to adopt the fees, we're asking you to adopt some code revisions to go along with that. That we have to do that to incorporate these new fees. We are also because there will be some entities that will be subject to the old fees for up to 24 months, we need to retain those old fees in the ordinance. And so there's been a section added showing the retention of those old fees, and that particular section will expire on March 31st of 21, which would be the last opportunity for somebody to fall under those fees. We've also made a number of cleanup changes where we've eliminated, say, repeating state statute language by repeating the exact language and instead referring to the state reference, statute reference. We've also had in our ordinance some cases that related to the first time you adopted a fee and the things you had to do, like the first audit or the first report. So we've taken those out of the ordinance as they're no longer appropriate. And then we clarified the language around the 24-month exemption and the definitions there. And that's what we've been calling moratorium as well. Some examples are building permit wasn't defined in our old ordinance. It's now defined. There's a number of other examples like that that we could show you where we're doing some cleanup. But overall, the ordinance changes that you're being asked to, or this ordinance that you're being asked to approve, is not intended to change our current practice, with the exception of the fees. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I'd ask you to adopt the ordinance and the 2 resolutions that are required to both adopt the fee report, adopt the fees, and adopt the ordinance, new ordinance.
Thank you, Lori. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak? All right, will the city clerk please read Resolution 2019-1918 by title only?
Adopt Resolution Number 2019-1918, approving and adopting Development Impact Fee Study, approving development fees and methodology and development impact fee study, adopting development fees and development impact fee study, providing for corrections and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Can I have a motion, a second, to adopt Resolution 2019-1918? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion by Vice Mayor Campbell and a second by Councilman Pizzillo. Open for council discussion. Councilman Pizzillo.
Just some clarification, Lori, on that 24 months. What kicks that in? The fees won't take effect till April, correct?
Correct.
So if they pull a building permit before the fees take effect, they have 24 months under the old fees?
If they have an approved site plan.
Okay, so it's a site plan that's throwing.
And then they pull, for residential, they have to have an approved plat. And then they have to pull a building permit before April 1st, and then the fees would apply for 24 months from when that first building permit was pulled. For commercial, it has to do with when they got their site plan approved.
So, okay, so if their site plan's approved before
April 1st.
Then they have 24 months. If it's residential, they actually have to have a permit pulled.
Correct.
I got you. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Hampton?
Aye.
Councilmember Kano?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Mayor Lloyd?
All right, will the city clerk please read Resolution 2019-1917 by title only, please?
Adopt Resolution Number 2019-1917, declaring as a public record that certain document filed with the city clerk titled Amendment to Article 9-8 Development Fees of Chapter 9 of the Goodyear City Code dated January 14, 2019.
Thank you. Can I have a motion, a second, to adopt Resolution 2019-1917? Do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
I heard a motion by Councilmember Stiff and a second by Councilman Hampton. Open for discussion? No discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Kano?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Hampton?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Will the city clerk please read Ordinance 2019-1416 by title only, please?
Adopt Ordinance Number 2019-1416, amending Article 9-8 Development Fees of Chapter 9 of the Goodyear City Code, providing for an effective date, providing for the repeal of conflicting codes and ordinances, providing for preservation of existing rights and obligations, providing for severability, and providing for corrections of Scrivener's errors.
Thank you. Can I have a motion, a second, to adopt Ordinance 2019-1416?
So moved.
I heard a motion from Vice Mayor Campbell. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I heard a second from Councilman Kano. Open for council discussion? No discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Hampton?
Aye.
Councilmember Kano?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
The motion carries.
All right, we're at 7.3. The next item is to request to adopt the 2019 state and federal legislative agenda. Our government relation manager, Rob Bohr, presenting. Rob?
Hello, Mayor and Council. Tonight you'll be asked to consider a resolution that would adopt the 2019 state and federal legislative agenda. So you have become familiar with this process, so I'm going to do a very quick overview of some of the information related to the legislative agenda tonight. As you know, tonight begins with you approving the agenda, which sets up kind of general guiding principles in different areas at both the state and federal level that provide some guidance for us as staff to advocate for or against, depending on what that legislation is. And if anything does fall outside of that general area, we'd always come back and get that specific approval from you at that time. So the way the process works is, of course, as legislation gets dropped, we review that as staff, which has already begun happening for this current session that kicked off today. And so I'd send that to the appropriate departments and discuss with management. And then each Friday, all the staffs from each of the cities here in the Maricopa area, my counterparts in many of those cities have a weekly meeting to discuss the legislation that is out there that has an impact on cities and what that impact might be for the respective cities and sort of talk strategy as far as how we tackle that from there. And then, as you know, I'd like to get out regular updates to you by email and of course, meeting with you and talking to you to keep you updated and informed on what's going on down there. And then, as has come up in past years, as well as keeping you updated and informed, is also an effort to keep the residents updated and informed. So last year, we actually did do some new things related to that with the LEAD class, the resident initiative, the Citizens Academy, Leadership and Enrichment and Development. We actually took the alumni down to the Capitol, and they spent a couple hours down there getting a whole walkthrough from Senator Lisa Tondo and as well as our two representatives from that Legislative District 4, explaining how the whole process works, walking them through it, showing them all the areas, and then actually ending it by having them sign in to speak so that in the future they can actually sign in and show their support or opposition to legislation as it's introduced. So we'll continue to do that this year. We also did create a legislative alert system where we can get information out. Folks that are interested can sign up to get information about legislation that impacts cities, and we'll keep them informed as information does come up. This coming session, one other thing we did last session was with Legislative District 4, we did a town hall where we hosted it at one of the schools, and they came up and talked to members of the community. One of the reasons for that was one of the new members, Dr. Jure Peaton in LD4, and getting a chance to introduce them. This year with a couple recent members of LD13, as well as a new member that we all know well, former Councilmember Joanne Osborne here in Goodyear. We are looking at hosting another town hall at Pebble Creek. We're looking at January 31st, which is a Thursday in the evening, to get a chance for our residents to interact and hear from those folks as well. So as you know, today was the first day of the new legislative session. Governor Ducey did provide his State of the State address earlier today, as many of you probably saw. We have seen changes in our two districts, as I kind of touched upon already, with Joanne Osborne being the new representative here in Legislative District 13, as well as Senator Kerr, who was appointed at the beginning of last year after Senator Montenegro had resigned to run for Congress. And then Representative Tim Dunn, who replaced, who took office middle of last session when Representative Don Shooter was actually expelled from the legislature. So then in Legislative District 4, not as many changes. As I mentioned at the beginning of last year, we had Dr. Peaton first come into office, and then she was appointed to that office. And then, of course, Representative Charlene Fernandez, who serves as the minority leader in the House this year, and then Senator Lisa Otondo, who's been there for a while, who serves as the minority whip in the Senate this year. And just a little bit on leadership itself. We have, as Speaker of the House is going to be Rusty Bowers, and Karen Fan is the current President of the Senate. So I mentioned the guiding principles. These are the areas that legislation often falls under these categories. So the attached legislative agenda really kind of gets into explanations of what these different guiding principles mean and what it means as we're down there working on legislation and how we can interpret that to know that we have your support in these different areas. But again, if there are specific things that are very high profile or fall out of these areas, we'll always come back to you to get that official support as well. So not going to go through these in much detail, as you know what these mean, but fiscal sustainability, it's already been mentioned in one of your presentations tonight, but the importance of protecting state shared revenue and really all funding sources that impact cities. Local authority, of course, is that, maintaining that's local decision making on local matters is important, and making sure that that's not taken away from us from other levels of government. Economic development at the state level, always looking at existing tools that are there and maintaining those, but also any new tools that might be available to help attract economic development in this area. We'll always support those types of things. Military preservation at the state level, really just making sure that there's no land use issues or anything that's going to impact the mission of Luke Air Force Base. Transportation, always a big thing at both state and federal level. This year last year we had HURF funds, Highway User Revenue Fee funds, were restored finally after they found a new source of funding, DPS, the Department of Public Safety, sorry. So this year we'll make sure that new system stays in place, and any changes to the state transportation funding are things that are advantageous to cities and towns. And then water was the very first priority we heard from Governor Ducey today. As all of you know, I think the state was given a deadline of the end of this month, January 31st, to have a plan in place for the drought contingency plan, where Lake Mead has gotten below that level. So we are the last state of those that are among them to come to the federal government and provide our plan as far as how that water would be mitigated. So it's obviously going to be a top priority at the very beginning for the state, is to make sure we have that plan in place. And then just quickly on the federal government, they convened about a week and a half ago. As far as Arizona's congressional representation, I think you probably all saw many of the ads related to a big Senate race that we had here recently, and now we have 2 new senators, and in fact, it's both of those who were involved in those commercials. So Senator Kirsten Sinema, of course, was elected for what was Senator Flake's seat, where Senator Martha McSally was then appointed to the seat that was left by John Kyle and previously belonged to Senator John McCain, who passed away. As you probably also know, the Democrats did take control of the House of Representatives in Congress, so we do have that change this coming year. And then as far as Goodyear's congressional delegation, of course, we have 2 congressional districts here in Goodyear, which is CD8 and CD3. CD8 belongs to Congresswoman Debbie Lesko, who was appointed to the seat that Trent Franks resigned, and then Congressman Raul Grijalva, who's Congressional District 3, more the southern area of Goodyear, and he's been in office now since 2003, I believe. So then again, just real quickly through those guiding principles at the federal level, as we talk to, as we talk to congressional staff or our congressional members, the things that we'll continue to focus on. One thing that we did actually take off this year, back in 2014, you guys or council at the time passed a resolution to support marketplace fairness or some type of similar legislation. That has pretty much taken care of itself now with the Supreme Court decision that does kind of provide for those same parameters that you all had supported back then. So it didn't seem to be something that we have to continue to pursue at the federal level. Transportation infrastructure still continues to be something that we hear that there may be a plan in the works or something that we may see. Of course, that all kind of depends at this point on when the federal government gets started back to taking action. So economic development, again, just making sure that we continue to monitor all those opportunities and support what might be helpful to us. Water, just like at the state level, we will support anything related to our sustained water supply at the federal level. Aviation will work closely with the city of Phoenix with the Phoenix Goodyear Airport and anything that's going to have any impact related to our local airports and aviation. And then military preservation, we actually have a collective contract with all the West Valley cities surrounding the base with a firm in DC to really keep an eye on any of those issues that could impact the mission of the base, of Luke Air Force Base, or the funding, or really any opportunities that might be there, positive, that we might be able to pursue as well. And then grants, always continuing to not just seek out grants, but even more so probably to seek support of those grants that are identified from different federal offices and from some of our congressional friends. So I believe that is it for my portion of the presentation, but Mayor and Council, if you do have any questions, I'd be happy to take those.
Thank you. Are there any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Would anybody in the audience like to speak? All right, will the city clerk please read Resolution 2019-1929 by title only?
Adopt resolution number 2019-1929, adopting a 2019 state and federal legislative agenda and providing authorization to the city manager or her designee to take action.
Thank you. Can I have a motion a second to adopt Resolution 2019-1929? Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I heard a motion by Vice Mayor Campbell, a second by Councilman Pizzillo. Open for council discussion. Vice Mayor, did you ask something?
No, I just said, good job, Rob.
Oh, okay. All right. Any discussion? Councilman Pizzillo?
Hey, Rob, I'm with you on what you said, but there's one thing I'm hoping they address this legislative session. You know, I had the opportunity, I guess, to use one of our hospitals, and it came to my attention that even though you go into a general provider, like a hospital, they don't necessarily hire people that accept their same insurance. So you get in, and next thing you know, you're getting bills from people who you have no idea who they are because they're all subcontractor. Mm-hmm. You know, I've talked to our new legislative individual there, Joanne Osborne. I said, you know, I'd like to see something passed at the state level that says if you go to a primary care facility, anybody that's associated with that facility has to accept as the in-network hospital insurance that particular facility accepts. Now, I talked to Stan before he left, and they were working on some of that, but I guess a lot of them, you know, they're all independent. But it becomes a real problem for those individuals going in those facilities, especially if you're in a condition where you can't either ask them, hey, do you take this insurance or that insurance, because you're not in that kind of frame of mind to do that, that I think something has to be done legislatively, because apparently it's an issue in the hospitals, and I think individuals walking in there think that it could all be covered, isn't being. So I'd like, if you see any of that happening down there at the state legislature, I'd like to be made aware of it, because I think that's a real problem. I think our health system's a problem to start with, but that to me is a bigger problem when you think that you're covered because it happens to be an in-network facility and you find out you're getting bills that you have no idea who they are because they happen to be contract people. So please keep that in mind for me.
Councilmember Pizzillo, definitely will pass along what we hear as far as what's going on down there related to that. I know you mentioned that as a concern when you and I talked earlier as well. Thank you.
Any other? No? Okay, so we now are, that is open for discussion. There's not anything necessary anymore, so we're going to have a roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Campbell?
Aye.
Councilmember Loretano?
Aye.
Councilmember Stipp?
Aye.
Councilmember Hampton?
Aye.
Councilmember Kano?
Aye.
Councilmember Pizzillo?
Aye.
Mayor Lord?
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Rob. All right, we're on 7.5. The last item on the agenda is a presentation of the State of the City address. I have a little something to say before we start this. The State of the City, a special edition and in focus was mailed to our community members after the first year. And I have already received several positive comments about the content from residents. And I will say I was at a Pebble Creek event and a lot of positive. And so I use that kind of in my scale. So I was pleased with that. In addition to the In Focus, we film a State of the City video each year, which can be streamed online for all to view. This is actually the first year, okay? Tonight is the official release of our State of the City video. I hope you'll enjoy it. So let's take a look at that.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Mayor Georgia Lord, and I'm thrilled to report that the State of the City is strong and prosperous. Goodyear is growing rapidly and receiving attention from some big-name companies, such as Anderson Windows, Ball Corporation, and Chewy.com. It's hard to keep up with the excitement. In just a year, we have estimated more than $150 million in capital investment from projects under construction. And these major companies will bring over 2,400 jobs for our extremely talented workforce. These investments are a true testament to the business community's confidence in Goodyear, and we couldn't be more proud to be the home to all of our dedicated business partners. Abrazo West Campus Hospital is one of our leading employers and continues to provide award-winning health care to the region. In response to the growth of the community, the hospital has announced a multi-million-dollar expansion to meet the needs of our community. The hospital's soon-to-be neighbor is also swiftly progressing as we see Adelante Healthcare facility taking shape next door. Adelante Healthcare's newest facility will expand healthcare resources in Arizona with their eye-catching, innovative design. The dirt is certainly moving throughout Goodyear, and I look forward to seeing what else is to come. The community we call home would not be what it is today without our high-quality neighborhoods and outstanding residents. The diversity of homes settling in our city continue to bring a smile to my face, as I can confidently say that Goodyear is a place anyone and everyone can call home. The City Council, staff, and I all take our jobs very seriously and never settle for the norm. We will continue to find ways to better our community, to maintain safety and offer recreational opportunities, and to ensure we are the best place to live, work, and grow a family. With over 84,000 residents now calling Goodyear home, I am confident the excitement will continue in 2019. I am humbled and honored to represent you as we build our beautiful community together. Thank you for choosing Goodyear and helping to preserve the small town feel that we all know and love. Happy New Year. We are definitely ready for 2019.
Excellent. Wow.
Well, I have to tell you, I'll be the first to speak on this. Staff did a great job.
Golly.
They didn't have a real helpful participant, but they worked through it, and we made it to the end. So it just demonstrates where we're going as far as the social media. And I'm sure this is just the beginning of other things being put online. So I'm supposed to open for discussion, but I don't think there's any discussion we need to have on this. So thank you, Council, for bearing with that. Does Council have any comments or updates or requests for information?
I do.
Yep, Councilman, Vice Mayor.
I have, may I do a staff inquiry at this time?
Yeah, can we
Okay.
do that? All right.
I am requesting a work session on vapor shops. It seems that we have no regulation right now, and we are locating 2, 3, and 4 vapor shops into one shopping center. And I think we need to talk about that and make sure that we're putting them in the best places. I would also like to have an update or a work session on what we are going to do with the old police station on Litchfield Road. I'd like to have something, this is Councilmember Pizzillo's pet texting while driving in lieu of an officer being killed because someone was texting. I think the city needs to take a look at it, Councilmember Pizzillo, and possibly have an ordinance for it, so police can do something about it. And that's it. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Councilwoman Lorentano.
I let the city manager know this, and I don't know exactly follow up. For city employees that are covered under Abrazo, apparently Abrazo and Cigna are having some sort of issue, and it isn't fixed. Okay, yeah, because I just got a postcard last week, so that said it wasn't.
Oh,
has it been fixed?
Lyman, do you know?
I think it's fixed. Yeah, because I got a couple. I don't know. It was last week. Are we playing nice?
We are, Councilmember Lorentano. The negotiations went right down to the wire. So there was communication that went out in anticipation that they were going to resolve the issue. However, they have resolved the negotiation. So Abrazo, all tenant health facilities are still in network.
Oh, good.
So we're sending a clarification out on Tuesday in our notes to know another
Oh,
one.
good, so that people will know, because,
Yes.
yeah, because my last thing was the postcard I got, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Except for subcontractors.
Is there any other requests for information from any of the other council? All right. City manager, do you have anything to report?
Thank you, Mayor. Before I give my update, I would like to clarify the Vice Mayor did request 2 work sessions, and my understanding is that we need to have 3 council members who agree for staff to bring those items back for work session. So I wanted to clarify.
I don't mind as a mayor to
I'll do
put
it.
it
I'll be
on.
number
I
2.
thought all 3 things that she asked for were,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
so
you.
why don't we
Thank
just
you.
do that?
Thank you.
We'll put
Very
that
good.
on,
So it'll
okay?
be texting while driving, vapor shops, and then we already have the other item on our city-owned property on Western and Litchfield coming back before council on February 25th. I just confirmed.
Great, thank you.
As far as other updates, I just wanted to let everyone know that we do have another upcoming holiday. The city offices will be closed on Monday, January 21st in observance of Martin Luther King Day. Emergency fire and police services will operate as normal, and city offices will reopen at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, January 22nd. There'll be no trash, recycling, or bulk collections on January 21st. Please plan for collection in the day after your regularly scheduled pickup. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Well, future meetings, the next meetings are CFD meetings scheduled for January 28th at 5:45 and a regular meeting at 6 p.m. No further business. This meeting is adjourned.